Everyone told me it was impossible. You can't build a real home for 100 grand. You'll end up with a metal box that looks like a barn. You'll run out of money halfway through and live in a shell for 2 years. I built 2,000 square feet, single slope roof, massive windows, vaulted ceilings, the kind of house that makes people pull into my driveway, stop their car, and just stare. And when I tell them what I paid for it, they don't believe me. So today I'm going to walk you through exactly how I built this house for right around $100,000. The real numbers, the real mistakes, the real timeline. And I'm also going to tell you the part most Barndominium videos won't. Why that number isn't the whole story, and what it actually takes to pull this off. Because if you skip that part, you will get burned. Stick around, because at the end I'm going to show you the one decision that saved me more money than everything else in this video combined. And it's not the one you're thinking of. Before we get into it, if you're even a little bit interested in building your own home someday, hit subscribe right now, because I'm going to be documenting every phase of this build in future videos. The septic system, the spray foam disaster, the day my foundation guy quit halfway through the pour. Watch till the end, you don't want to miss that. Okay, let's get into the numbers. The honest disclaimer. I want to start here, because I'd be lying to you if I didn't. If you go price out a builder-finished Barndominium in 2026, you're not looking at $50 a square foot. You're looking at somewhere between $115 and $200 plus a square foot for a fully finished home, done by a contractor, with normal finishes. For a 2,000 square foot house, that's $230,000 to $400,000. And that's the national average, not the high end. The high end, with premium finishes, big window packages, complex roof lines, that's pushing $300 to $365 a square foot. That's your $500,000, $700,000 Barndominium. Easy. So how did I land at $100,000? 3 words. I did everything. I didn't hire a general contractor. I didn't pay someone else's payroll, someone else's profit margin, someone else's overhead. I acted as my own general contractor. I did a massive amount of the labor myself. I sourced materials directly instead of through markup, and I made design decisions specifically because they were cheap and they looked expensive. That combination is the entire secret. It's not a hack. It's not a loophole. It's work. A lot of it. If you're expecting to pay a builder $100,000 for a finished 2,000 square foot custom home in 2026, you will not find that. What you can do, and what I did, is get your own hands dirty and build the shell, or hire out the shell and finish it yourself, and stack a bunch of smart decisions on top of each other until the number gets ridiculous. Let's break down exactly how. The shell, where the real savings start. The Barndominium shell, the steel frame, the roof, the exterior walls before any insulation or interior work, is genuinely the cheapest part of this whole equation. And it's where most of my savings came from before I even touched the interior. A pure kit, just the materials, no labor, runs about $20 to $35 a square foot in 2026. That's steel trusses, exterior siding, roofing, trim, delivered to your site as a kit of parts, like the world's heaviest IKEA furniture. Labor to assemble that kit runs another $10 to $15 a square foot if you hire it out. I didn't hire it out. I got 3 friends, a rented boom lift for 11 days, and I learned how to run a rivet gun like it was my job, because for about 6 weeks it was. That single decision, swinging the hammer myself instead of paying a crew, is where I cut my first massive chunk out of the budget. Here's the thing nobody tells you about single slope roofs specifically. They're not just a design choice, they're a cost decision. A single slope roof uses less structural material than a traditional gable roof. It's simpler to frame, it sheds water in one clean direction, and this is the part that matters for the looks like $500K claim. It's the exact roofline you see on every high-end modern farmhouse and architectural Barndominium in magazines right now. It reads as expensive. It is not expensive to build. That's design decision number 1. Pick the form that is simultaneously cheap to build and currently the most desired look in the entire Barndominium space. You're not compromising aesthetics to save money. You're choosing the aesthetic that happens to save you money. That's a completely different mindset than most people bring to this. By the time my shell was up, dried in, weather-tight, standing there like a giant steel skeleton of a house, I was somewhere around $18,000 into the project, on a 2,000 square foot footprint. That number should stop you in your tracks. That's a dried-in shell for less than the price of a nice truck. Foundation and site work, the part no one shows you. I'm not going to sugarcoat this section because this is where a lot of Barndominium budgets quietly explode and nobody talks about it on camera. A concrete slab foundation for a home this size typically runs several dollars per square foot just for the pour, and that's before you factor in site prep, clearing, grading, compacting, which can add tens of thousands of dollars depending on your land. If you're building on raw rural land with no utilities nearby, budget separately and heavily for a well, a septic system, and bringing power to the site. Those costs are not optional and they are not small. Building permits alone typically run $500 to $2,000 depending on your county. I got lucky in one specific way. I already owned the land, it was relatively flat, and I didn't need to run utilities more than a couple hundred feet. That's not luck everyone has, and I want to be straight with you about that because if you're starting from raw acreage with no road access and no power lines nearby, your site costs could eat a huge chunk of what I spent on the entire build. This is the part of the video where I tell you, your mileage will vary. My number is real. It is also specific to my land, my location, and my labor. If someone tells you a Barndominium cost with zero mention of their land situation, be skeptical. Land and site work are often the most skipped line item in I built my house for cheap videos, and it's usually the biggest hidden variable. The interior, where $500K looks, lives. Okay, here's the part everyone actually wants. How do you make the inside of a $100,000 house look like it belongs in a $500,000 listing? Number 1, vertical space is free luxury. I kept my interior walls minimal and let the roofline do the talking. Because there are no load-bearing interior walls required in a Barndominium structure, that's actually one of the defining features of the whole build style. I got soaring vaulted ceilings basically for the cost of not building extra walls. Open concept isn't just trendy right now, it's cheaper. Fewer walls means less framing, less drywall, less paint, less trim. Every wall you don't build is money back in your pocket, and open vaulted spaces are exactly what luxury home buyers are paying a premium for anyway. Number 2, big glass, strategically placed. I didn't put windows everywhere. I put a small number of oversized windows in exactly the right spots, flooding the main living area and kitchen with natural light, instead of scattering a dozen standard windows around the whole house. Fewer total windows, bigger visual impact, lower total window cost. This is the single trick that made the biggest difference in how expensive this house feels the second you walk in. Number 3, I chased the material, not the brand name. Countertops, flooring, fixtures. I spent an enormous number of hours hunting scratch and dent sales, floor model discounts, contractor overstock, and end-of-run tile lots. I am not talking about cheap-looking materials. I am talking about the exact same quartz, the exact same wide plank flooring, the exact same matte black fixtures you'd see in a $500,000 build, just purchased at 40 to 70% off, because it was a display model, a discontinued color, or a bulk pallet somebody needed gone. This took patience. It did not take extra money. Number 4, paint is the cheapest transformation in existence. A dark, moody exterior, black metal siding with warm wood accents, is currently one of the most in-demand looks in modern Barndominium design. And steel siding runs roughly $4 to $6 to $50 a square foot. Compare that to wood siding running $7 to $14 a square foot, and you've got a design choice that's both cheaper and more on-trend right now. I didn't sacrifice style for savings here. The cheap option and the desirable option were the same option. Number 5, I did the finish work myself, on nights and weekends, for over a year. I'm not going to pretend this part is glamorous. Insulation, drywall hanging, tape and mud, flooring installation, cabinet assembly, all of it, done slowly, done tired, done on weekends when I would have rather been doing literally anything else. Insulation alone typically runs $1 to $4 to $4.50 a square foot installed. Multiply every one of those trades by I did it myself instead of paying someone, and you start to see how the number stays this low. If there's one honest truth in this entire video, it's this. The gap between $100,000 and $230,000 plus wasn't materials, it was labor. Roughly 1,000 hours of my own labor is the actual line item that made this math work. That's not a secret ingredient. That's just the ingredient nobody wants to hear. One more thing I have to say here, because I'd feel wrong leaving it out. I DIY'd my own plumbing and electrical rough-in, but I did not skip inspections, and you shouldn't either. A lot of counties, and most lenders, if you're financing any part of this, will not let an unlicensed person pull an electrical or plumbing permit at all, even on their own home. Some jurisdictions require a licensed electrician or plumber to at least pull the permit and sign off, even if you do the physical work yourself. Before you touch a single wire, look up your specific county's rules on owner-builder trade permits. This is not the place to cut corners, and it's not the place to get caught off guard either. The myths I want to bust right now. I see so much misinformation in this space, and I want to clear a few things up, because I'd rather you go in with real expectations than get burned the way I almost did. Myth. A Barndominium is automatically 50% cheaper than a traditional house. Not true, or at least not reliably true. Most current data puts the realistic savings from the steel frame structure itself somewhere around 15 to 25% compared to traditional stick-built framing, not 50. The bigger savings in my build came from labor and sourcing, not from the Barndominium format alone. Myth. Kit price is the total price. This is the single most common trap I see people fall into. A kit price covers the shell, the metal skeleton and skin of the building. It does not include your foundation, your utilities, your insulation, your drywall, your plumbing, your electrical, your cabinets, your flooring, or your appliances. People see a kit advertised at $30 a square foot and think that's their whole house. It is maybe a third of your whole house. Myth. You need zero construction experience. I had some background before I started this. Not professional level, but enough that I wasn't learning how to hold a drill for the first time on camera. If you have genuinely zero experience, budget either more money for hired labor or a lot more time for the learning curve, because mistakes on a house are expensive mistakes. Myth. This is a shortcut. It's not a shortcut. It's a trade. I traded roughly a year and a half of nearly every free hour I had for a mortgage-free 2,000 square foot home. That is an extraordinary trade if you have the time, the physical ability, and the patience for it. It is a terrible trade if you don't. I'd rather tell you all of that up front than have you start a build expecting my exact number and end up disappointed 3 months in. The full budget breakdown. Let's get specific, because I know that's what you're actually here for. Rounded numbers, real categories. Land, already owned, not included in build cost, but budget $10,000, $100,000 plus if you don't have this already. Site work and permits, roughly $6,000 to $12,000. Foundation, slab, roughly $12,000, $16,000. Shell kit, materials only, roughly $50,000 for 2,000 SQ feet. Shell assembly, my own labor plus rented equipment, roughly $6,000 in equipment rental instead of $20,000 to $30,000 in paid labor. Insulation, roughly $4,000. Windows and exterior doors, roughly $8,000, sourced at a discount. Plumbing rough-in and fixtures, roughly $9,000. DIY plus a licensed inspection. Electrical rough-in and fixtures, roughly $8,000. DIY plus a licensed inspection. HVAC, mini-split or ducted heat pump system, DIY assisted. Roughly $6,000 drywall materials, self-installed, roughly $4,000. Flooring, roughly $5,000. Source discount wide plank. Kitchen, cabinets, countertops, appliances, roughly $9,000. Source discount and scratch and dent. Bathroom fixtures and tile, roughly $4,000. Paint, trim, hardware, lighting, roughly $4,000. Add that up, including HVAC, and you land right around $106,000, which I round down to about $100,000 because a few of these categories came in under budget in the actual build. Every one of those categories, priced normally through a contractor with standard materials, would have roughly doubled or tripled. That's the whole game. Would I do it again? Yes, without hesitation. But I want to leave you with the real caveat, because I think it matters more than any number in this video. This build cost me $100,000 and about a year and a half of nearly every evening and weekend I had. If you have more money than time, hire the labor out and expect to land closer to $230,000 to $300,000 for a comparable finished home in 2026. And that is still a completely respectable, still very achievable number for a beautiful custom home. If you have more time than money, and you're willing to become genuinely competent at trades you've never done before, this path is real. I'm proof of that. But it is not a hack. It is not a trick. And anyone who tells you they built a $500,000 looking home for $100,000 with zero sweat equity is not telling you the whole story. I told you at the top there was one decision that saved me more than anything else. And here it is. It wasn't the roofline. It wasn't the discounted countertops. It wasn't even doing the labor myself. It was refusing to build a single square foot bigger than I actually needed. Every extra 100 square feet is thousands of dollars in foundation, roofing, siding, insulation, and finish work you'll pay for whether you use that space or not. I designed tight, intentional, and open, and that discipline is what let every other savings decision on this list actually add up to something real. If this helped you see what's actually possible, hit subscribe, because next video I'm walking you through the exact floor plan, room by room, and telling you what I would change if I started over today. Drop a comment and tell me, would you take this trade? A year and a half of your life for a paid-off custom home? I read every single comment, so let me know down below. I'll see you in the next one.